Hi, I'm Dr. Jodi Richardson, and you are about to listen to a very special episode of the podcast, Well, Hello, Anxiety. We recorded this in front of a wonderful live studio audience. It was such a powerful conversation, and I'm really excited for you to listen. We couldn't wait to get out here and share this experience with you. This is definitely a first for us, and it's just a pleasure to have you all here. I've been recording the podcast for over 4 years now, and to be able to join with an audience, to be able to have a conversation with one of my most favourite guests, is really exciting. So it's a real joy to welcome Carly Taylor. Carly is a counsellor. She's a mental fitness coach. She's also a Morita Therapist, and she works with young people as well as adults in counselling in Mornington, on the Mornington Peninsula, but also online. Carly actually brings so much expertise in acceptance and commitment therapy, in Japanese psychology and behaviour change. We're going to learn more about that today. And I'm really excited for Carly because, and this may create a little bit of anxiety for Carly, is that Carly is actually one of few people outside of Japan to have been invited to speak at the International Roundtable for the annual meeting of the Japanese Society of Morita Therapy in September. So a huge warm welcome to you, Carly, and congratulations.
Thank you.
I think that's
Thank
just
you so
brilliant.
much. Thank you.
Yeah. And this is a first, and I'm anxious. I don't know about you.
Well, I know, and I was thinking about this. This is the first, I mean, obviously not the first podcast, but first in front of a live audience. And I always think my family loves to celebrate first. Like my son's just got his learners the other day, so that was a good celebration.
More anxiety.
But how cool is it that we can celebrate a first at our age? So, yeah, thank you for being part of that.
You're exactly right. And anything that's uncertain, I mean, it's the uncertainty and it's the unpredictability that often drives so much anxiety when we just don't know what's going to happen. We have a fair idea of what's going to happen, but obviously, we'll see how it unfolds. Carls, one of the things that I shared about in your introduction is this incredible honour of this invitation, and I do hope you go to Japan and deliver that presentation in person. But Morita Therapy is a huge part of your work. And I'd really love you to share with us more about Morita Therapy, what it's meant for you, and who was Morita?
Morita has a very special place in my heart. He was a Japanese psychiatrist in the 1920s, so he was a contemporary of Freud, and he worked in major Tokyo hospital over there. But I think a good place to start is that Morita really struggled with anxiety himself. He would have panic attacks. He had a lot of health anxiety around having heart failure. So he was really looking for something to help himself. He was trying remedies and therapy and all sorts of things, and nothing was helping him. And he went on to become a psychiatrist, and his patients, what he specialised in was called shinkaishitsu, which is really now would be an umbrella term for sort of some major anxiety disorders, generalised anxiety disorders, social anxiety, phobias, OCD, that type of thing. So, and what he noticed, well, actually, he didn't consider them to have a disorder. He actually considered this to be a temperament, so like a personality trait. Because what he noticed was that his patients were very introspective. They were sensitive, so hypersensitive, and very conscientious. And he noticed that their attention was very inward. So when they focused on their symptoms, those patients who focused more on their symptoms, trying to control them and want to get rid of them, were the ones that struggled the most. So he created what is now called Morita Therapy. He actually called it his special therapy, which is really cute, but it is now called Morita Therapy. And originally it was a 4-stage in-house protocol.
So when you say in-house, do you mean people would go and actually live in?
Yes, yeah,
Right.
yeah. So he and his wife actually had set up their house. So the patients would stay in the house. He would have a beautiful Chinese garden. There would be animals there. So he was the environment and the sort of the ecology was very, very important in the setting. It was all a part of it. I won't go into the 4-stage now because it didn't take too long. But what has happened is that it has expanded to outpatient therapy. And something that I'm particularly interested in is his ideas and his concepts are they're like a philosophy. They're like a philosophy for life.
Yes.
From a personal perspective, I've studied Morita. I've applied what I've learned in my own life, and I can honestly say it changed my perspective on life. It changed my relationship with my own emotions and my thoughts, and it's just had a profound impact on me personally.
And I've been listening to some of your podcasts, Carly, also, and I was listening to the conversation that you had or the share that you did around peripheral consciousness. Can you share a little bit about that? But can you also please share how that relates to your, like a recent challenge that you've been through?
Yes, yeah. So peripheral consciousness is around attention. So what tends to happen when we feel anxious or feel strong emotions, which we all do, our attention tends to narrow, and we just end up focusing just on the symptoms, the emotions, and it our attention kind of what else is happening around us kind of almost blacks out.
It's almost.
I did bring prompts, so it's.
This is the beauty of a live podcast recording.
I've got one for you as well.
Thank you.
So this is just a tube from a paper towel. And what happens is when our attention narrows, it's like we're just looking through this tube. And if you and I are just doing that, we can't really function well, can we? Because all I'm seeing is you. I can't see the audience there. I can't see anything around me. And but what can happen is if we just put it down. And so if this represents our anxiety, we just put it in our lap. It's still there, but now I can see everything's opened up. And so it's really difficult to do that in the moment, absolutely. But one thing that has really helped me and one of Morita's concepts or ideas is part of the human experience, and that is that we have these two kind of opposing forces, and it's a little bit like a coin. So if you've got, just say you've got a 50-cent coin, okay, you've got a heads and a tails. So you would agree it's one coin?
Yes.
But there's a head. So you can't just spend the heads, okay? You've got to just spend the coin.
Split it into.
Yes. So what Morita tells us is that on one side of the coin there is fear. So fear can cover anxiety, it can cover sadness, anger, obsessive sort of compulsive rumination, thoughts, all that sort of stuff. So that's on one side. But there's something on the other side of the coin. What is on the other side of the coin is what we deeply, deeply care about. So it's what we desire, it's our hopes, it's our dreams. But what happens is that we just put all our focus on one side of the coin, the fear, and it's almost like we don't recognise the other side. And that's when we can go into avoidance. We can do things like scroll on social media. We can try everything to try and distract ourselves from this. But what Morita is saying is that it's actually one, because you can't have the fear without the desire. And I'll give you a bit of an example of this. So my daughter, as you know, has gone backpacking around Europe, and then she is gone to an exchange in Edinburgh, which she'll be at the end of the year. And this has been really emotional for me. It's brought up a lot of fear because there's, my daughter's off in the big wide world. I have no control there. And
how old is she, Carly?
She's 20.
She's only 20.
She's only 20.
Yes. Yeah.
And so before she left, I could recognise that fear. And what I do with this sort of metaphor of the two sides of the coin is I hold this coin with me every day. So when I was waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning, which I was naturally, because that's the time when your brain's sort of sorting out all your problems of the day.
Yes. Very inconvenient.
Very inconvenient, but totally out of our control.
Yeah.
But I understand why I did it, because there was something on the other side of the coin.
Yes.
I deeply love my daughter, and I want her to do well, and I want her to be safe and happy and all those things that we want for our children. I even had, and this might sound extreme, but this is just what came up for me. It was automatic. I really feared that she was going to die. And I thought, oh my goodness, like I'm having these sort of extreme thoughts about this. But then I flipped the coin over and I thought, that's actually understandable.
Yes.
Because I really care that she lives. I want her to live this full, amazing life. And I do want her to feel discomfort and move through that and grow. And I want her to be a part of my life. So you can see there with the coin, if we focus our attention too much on the fear,
Yes.
that's when we can go down in a spiral.
Yes.
But the fear's always going to show up because we're human and because we care.
Yes.
So it's not about getting rid of the fear or the anxiety or whatever is showing up for you. It's about balancing and understanding that, okay, there's these two opposing forces here, but that's understandable because I'm human, because I care deeply.
Yes.
And I desire a full life for me and my daughter.
Absolutely. And that's the thing, that anxiety shows up around what we care about.
Yes.
And so if you're a child and you care about being a leader in your school, you care about getting a role or maybe the lead role in the school play, or even kicking the winning goal at the end of a game after the siren, the things that we care about are going to bring us anxiety. We want to be able to notice it, manage it. And do you remember when we were having a coffee recently to talk about today, and I realised that you've got two sides of the same coin, and if it's not a 50-cent piece, if it's a 20, it'll roll.
Yeah.
When you've that's how you can move forward, when you've got the balance between the fear and the purpose and the care, what you care about. But the coin will actually move and you can move forward.
Yes, yeah. I love that.
We could have been rolling coins around the studio.
Yes.
It's because anxiety is something that can be just take hold of us, and you know that I live with it and I live a full life with it. I've learned a lot that I apply to myself, and we've talked about that before on the podcast. And the thing is, it's that idea that I can't do the things I want to do until I'm free from it. And I wonder, Carl's, thinking about the wonderful people that we've got here joining us today and the listeners, that for anyone listening who's thinking, I want that freedom from anxiety, it's got such a hold on me. And for parents whose children and teenagers, where it's such a hold, and we know just how debilitating it can be, what would you want for them to know?
Yeah, that's such a good question. Life is amazing and can bring us so much joy and love, and there's all this positive stuff to life, but it can also be really, really hard, and it always has been. And anxiety is going to show up, and I think it's that acceptance that, yes, life is hard and we can grow through challenge. I think that if we can use our attention really wisely here, because if we're going to – Morita showed us, or Morita teaches us, that to be human is to feel. It's to feel this landscape of emotion.
Yes.
And to mess with that is almost like messing with nature. So when these emotions show up, it's about getting curious with them rather than trying to fight them. As soon as we start to fight them, as soon as we start to control them or distract ourselves from them, that's when we can go down in a spiral.
Yes, yeah. And it's that struggle, isn't it? It's that fight that when we can develop the capacity within us, and sometimes we need help. Sometimes, and I know this is how you work with your clients, sometimes we need that support to be able to recognize an emotion that we're having that we don't like, that we would rather not be feeling, but just leave it be.
Yes.
And you talk about, and I know Morita does as well, about the wave. And I wonder if you could use that analogy or metaphor. I do know the difference, but I'm not sure which is which in this situation, about the wave. And would you be comfortable sharing what your family went through with your son?
Yes.
Because you went through something that is one of the most challenging things to go through, and no doubt you were working hard to practice what you teach and share.
Yeah. So what Morita, with the symbol of the wave, is that emotions and feelings are natural, and they take a natural flow. They're part of our human nature. They are part of nature. So he believes that if we don't mess with them, they will flow up like a wave. So they will rise and rise and rise. And we all know with anxiety it can reach a peak.
Yes.
And then it tapers off. And so what he taught his patients and what he teaches us is if we can leave that emotion alone, then it will rise and it will be uncomfortable and you might struggle with it, but it will dissipate. But you can still live fully even with these strong emotions.
Yes.
The wave analogy is beautiful. And I guess, my experience with my son, so he's 16 now, but when he was around 12, he was diagnosed with a really rare disease. He had Cushing's disease, which was a tumour on his pituitary gland, and it was an active tumour. So it was actually it was secreting a hormone that was telling the adrenals to produce cortisol, and then there was nothing to actually tell the adrenals to stop.
So cortisol being a stress hormone.
So cortisol, he had about 12 times the normal rate of cortisol constantly. So the effects of that were, one was weight gain. He had a moon face. He he was only 11, 12 and had to start shaving. He had hair growing. The other thing that was the hardest was his mental health, because his cortisol was so high that he fell into a depression. He also had very obsessive thoughts around his weight gain. I mean, we're a very fitness-orientated family who are, both Paul and I are nutritionists as well. So that is really a core of our life. And so he probably knew more than most 12-year-olds. So the weight gain he really struggled with, and he was really developing a disordered eating as well. Yeah, so for me and Paul, it was there was a lot of emotions. There was a lot of anxiety, so much uncertainty. If anybody has had, these sort of major struggles in life, you will know that all of a sudden your world kind of, it doesn't collapse, but it zones in. And I think what I experienced was that I really felt, I allowed myself to feel. So whenever I felt anxiety or whenever I felt intense sadness, I remember I didn't try and fight it. I remember going into my room and just sitting, even if it was just for 5 minutes, allowing myself just to feel how I felt. Yeah. And then I would pick myself up and I would say, right, what do I need to do now? What needs to be done? I just put one foot in front of the other. Yes. From a Morita perspective there is this beautiful word called arugamama. And if anyone's heard me talk, they would have heard this word because I talk about it all the time.
Before you define it, I shared it with someone else the other day, but I mispronounced it. I said arugamama.
Oh, yeah. Well, arugama, it's spelt that way, arugamama, arugamama. But what it is it's this beautiful, it's really hard to translate actually, because that's the beauty of Japanese words, is some of them that we actually do not have an English translation for them. Yes. The closest is acceptance. The trouble with acceptance is there's an opposite. I don't accept.
Yes.
So what I love is Arugamama is it's catching, is it is what it is. It is what it is. I don't have to like it. But now what needs to be done, what must be done.
Yes.
So we're not giving up. We're not going, oh, well, throwing our hands up in the air and going, well, this is it. There's this really deep acceptance of it is what it is.
Yes.
So whenever strong emotions show up, as hard as they are, and the struggle that there is, you can still say to yourself, it is what it is. Now, what do I need to do now? And what you need to do might be related to what you're anxious about, or it might not. It may be that you've just got to go tidy the kitchen.
Yes.
Or it may
it's
be
very therapeutic.
Or you've got to care for your kids or your elderly parents or go to work.
Yeah.
But I think the key is that you do those things with purpose.
Yes.
Because when we think of purpose, we think of our life's purpose, but we all have a purpose in the moment.
Yes.
So I was even washing the dishes the other day and I was thinking about this and I was thinking, I am just washing these knives and forks at the best that I can.
Yes.
And it sounds really boring and mundane, but if you can, and this comes from the Japanese culture as well, they do things so well. They do the simple things with so much detail so well. So that is a way for us to, yes, the anxiety's there and it's painful, it's not going away, but I can kind of carry it along in a little bag with me while I do what needs to be done.
Yeah. It's just like the cardboard roll you were saying, that I can be so focused on it and narrow my attention and put all of my energy into that, which takes your energy and your efforts away from everything else that's really important and meaningful.
Yeah.
And we can't get rid of it. It's actually really important. Anxiety, if you did have a spot on your arm like I did recently, then the action that I took was I booked into the skin clinic.
Yes.
And one of the things that comes to mind is our son, as you know, recently had I was going to say fractured his collarbone at footy. Somebody fractured his collarbone at footy, So I came home, I raced home footy because we had 3 cars at the footy, Peter's and myself and his car. And what we realised was he was in a sling. We needed to obviously go to the ED, but we thought the best approach is for Peter and I to take his car home, come back in one, I'll take him to the hospital, Peter can go home. When we dropped the car home, our daughter was there and she's like, and she saw my face and I said, there's been an injury, we've got to go to the hospital. And she was about to go to work. She said, I can't go to work. Oh my gosh, I can't believe this has happened. This is terrible. I can't go to work. I'll have to call in sick. She was so shocked. And I said, I know you're upset. I am too. This has wrecked the season. It's painful. It's just everything about this is really hard. But sometimes when in life things that are really hard happen, it's still really important to do the things that we said we would do, that other people are counting on us to do. And this is one of those moments. And she's 16. She was very, very mature about it. And she said, I understand, I really don't want to. And I said, I know you don't want to, but I also know that you can. And it was a really powerful kind of moment, an unexpected moment of learning for her and teaching for me that just happened in that, in me responding to her response. But one of the questions that's come to mind when you were talking before was about our attention and what's in our control as well, because I think that would be a really important way to kind of move with this conversation, because often lots of things come to mind, don't they, when something goes wrong or life happens.
Yes.
As you say, life can be so hard and challenging, and there's lots of curveballs and ups and downs, and that is being human. Can you talk? I know you work with clients and you even sometimes get them to literally write this down. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Because I personally think of, that F word, focus, and focusing on what we can control can be very, very powerful with anxiety too, can't it?
Yes, yeah. Yeah, so often when we're struggling, if you think of all the things in our life that we have no control over, often they're the things that we struggle with.
Yeah.
The weather is one of them. We're all just like, it's so cold. It's not within our control. Things like politics. People get so upset about
potholes and politics.
And potholes is a big one right now. I've been complaining about the potholes.
If you live in Victoria, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. But also our automatic thoughts and emotions. And anyone that says that you can control your emotions, I just think that they're trying to sell you something, because if we could control our emotions and our automatic feelings that come up, then nobody would be struggling right now.
That's right.
They're there for a reason. I mean, we know from an evolutionary perspective that they're there for our survival. It's just our environment has changed now. We're not getting chased by lions. So it's but we struggle with that. And so that's where this it makes so much sense for me. So Morita's approach is because, these emotions are going to come up. These thoughts are going to come up. Yes, we can replace one thought with the other, which is why awareness is so important. So we can notice. You can notice your thoughts and notice the anxiety or the anger or the sadness that's appearing, and then shifting our attention to what we can control. So what we can control is how we respond. That is what is in our control. Our behaviour, what we say, what we do, how we move. We've got control over our body, and we can move our arms and legs. And so what is it that you can do that's within your control? So quite often with my clients, it's one of the first things I will do is we will have 2 columns, and on one side we will write down all the things that are in their control and all the things that are not in their control. And it can be quite an eye-opener for them, because they can actually see on paper that the things they're struggling with are not within their control, and there's actually so much that they can do.
Yes.
So, it's a really, really good exercise.
It is, and anyone can do that. We can all do that. And sometimes just, we can think about it, and sometimes when something comes up and we are aware that we're struggling with it in the moment, or it's causing us distress or discomfort or unhappiness, if we can just have that awareness of, this is what I'm feeling. My process is as you know, and as my audience might know, over the last few months, my dad's health has gone on a really big decline, and I just said to Peter the other day, I'm feeling so sad. I'm so sad, and what I try to do is I'll like to talk about how I feel, but also I'll just name it for myself, and I just say to myself, well, I'm just going to have to feel sad for a while, or I am just going to feel sad for a little while. And then I'll move on. Or sometimes if there's a few kind of things going on, I'll be right, well, what's in my control? And inevitably a lot of the things are out of your control, and then you can just park them. It's quite liberating, I find, because I can just go, can't do anything about that. I'm going to move my attention onto something else.
Yeah. And it doesn't mean that you are ignoring how you're feeling. It doesn't mean you're just sort of discarding it, because Morita was very big on you feel how you feel, because you want this natural wave. So you don't want to be ignoring your emotions. But if you switch your attention, then it's kind of like, if you've got a stage and you've got a spotlight, the spotlight's not, and your emotions are all there, and everything else that's in your life is on the stage. The emotion is not the star of the show. The spotlight's not on just your emotions. It's on other things, but it's still there. It's still playing a part.
Yes, yeah. I love that metaphor.
Yeah, it's good.
It's really good. It creates such a visual. There's somebody who you've quoted before, and his name is Greg. Is it Ketch or Keach? Creech.
Yes.
Can you please share, because I shared with you recently my favourite quote, and one of Greg Creech's quotes that you shared with me is really it aligns with I'll share my favourite quote in a minute. But yeah, can you share that with us? Because it's really powerful. I loved it. I'd love everyone to hear it.
Yes, yeah. So Greg Creech is an expert in Japanese psychology, and Morita Therapy is a part of that, and he is my mentor and teacher. And when I was studying Japanese psychology, I went over to the States, and I remember on the first day, he lives in Vermont, and there was a residential component of the course. And I sat there, and one of the first things he said was, your experience of life is not based on life. It's based on what you pay attention to. And that just hit me. I was like, wow, I'd never thought of how powerful our attention is and how much control that we do have over where we direct our attention.
Yes, yes. Because we can't control what we think, but we can control what we're paying attention to.
Yeah.
Which is what you've shared so beautifully with us, and especially with the tubes.
Yeah.
Because when it's natural, isn't it, that our attention will narrow and focus when something creates an anxiety response, because our brain is like, is there a problem here to be solved? Is this dangerous for me?
Mm.
How do we, when we notice that our attention is narrowed, we become aware of that? What are some ideas that you could share with listeners that could help them to broaden their attention and step away from kind of that narrow, singular focus that just takes life in a very different direction if you can't unhook from it?
Yeah, it's narrow focus. It's also self-focused. So it's your attention is on your thoughts, it's on your emotions. So if you look at the direction of where your attention is, it's inward.
Yes.
So if you can notice that, and quite often when this happens to me, I will actually say to myself, right, Carly, your attention is on this right now. It's facing inward.
Yes.
So what I will do is I know that I control where my attention is. It's like a beam of light. So this is another beautiful metaphor. I love my metaphors.
Metaphors are great. Me too.
Actually, I've got a little torch.
Oh my
here.
gosh, awesome.
Came prepared. So if you imagine, I'll just turn it on. So if you imagine that your attention is the beam of light, okay, but you are holding the torch. So you have control over where that light shines. So I'm shining it on you right now. But if I if my attention was inward, it would be on my thoughts, on my emotions. So it's shining on the struggle. Okay. So I recognize that. So I can turn it outward and I can shine it on the task at hand, whatever I need to do. Quite often, if I'm really struggling with emotion, I will actually look outside and I will see a bird flying in the distance, or I will notice the intricacies of a spider web. And because so often when we're just focused on our whatever internal experience, we're missing out on this whole world outside, which can actually bring us so much joy. Even if it's just a moment of joy, it's still joy there.
Yes.
And I remember I used the torch analogy with a young client that I had, and I love working with young people because they often just get this stuff.
Yes.
And I would give him a torch because his attention was all over the place, and so we were talking about attention. And I said to him, you know, the beam of light is your attention. You have control over the beam of light, and as long as you didn't shine it in my eyes, it was fine. And I said, now I want you're listening to me, so shine the light on me. So he had the light shining. And as I was talking, he just got the torch and he suddenly put it out the window. And I was like, oh, okay. And then he was like this and he shined it on his head. So he could recognise where his attention was going in that moment. It was very, very cool.
That is so powerful. And that is the first step towards being able to shine your attention elsewhere.
Yes.
When you recognise that it's shifted.
Yeah, or shift it back. So, you know, if he's in the classroom, the teacher's talking, he would recognise when his attention goes elsewhere and then, bring it back to him.
It back. Oh, thank you for sharing that. And thank you for bringing props. I think they were awesome. They're so good to help us understand.
Yeah.
So this, what we've talked about today is so powerful and important to understand around anxiety. But what we also both know, everybody knows, is that it's really tough. It's challenging and we don't like discomfort. And I know that you've talked about building and strengthening that challenge muscle. Yeah. I know you practice what you preach and teach, as do I. We like to do some things that put us out of our comfort zone, or we choose to.
Yeah, not always, but
not always. Talk to us about building this challenge muscle and how we can build our strength to cope with the challenges that anxiety brings into our life, or other challenges that come our way, as they inevitably do.
Yeah, I think this goes back to the realistic kind of outlook on life, that you will have challenges in your life. Not being negative, but it's just life.
So it's fact.
Even if things are going well. I mean, when my son got the tumour on his pituitary gland, I mean, that was just like such a reality slap for us. It's like everything was going great, and then all of a sudden it's like bam, it's like I've got a child that needs some major surgery.
Yes.
So the challenge muscle is just like, we know about the physical muscle, we know about physical discomfort, that we go to the gym, we build muscle, we get stronger. So this is the same with our distress tolerance. So what we need to do is we need to train ourselves so when the big challenges happen, we don't spiral down, that we do have the capacity and the tools to be able to get through it. So physical discomfort is actually a really good one, because it's an opportunity to really notice the thoughts that are coming up, notice the emotions. So Morita himself 100 years ago, he got his clients to have cold baths. So he did cold water emotion. I know. But his thing was, as you notice the discomfort, you notice the thoughts that are popping up, like, I want to get up, this is horrible, it's like, why am I doing this? It's like chatter, 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 chatter.
Yes.
You still have control over staying in there and experiencing the discomfort.
Yes.
So, and then the more you do it, the more that challenge muscle is developed. So cold water, you don't have to have a cold bath or an ice bath, like a 20-second cold shower. It is such a good opportunity. You turn it, you have a nice warm shower. You have a nice warm shower, and then you count to 3 and you put it onto cold. I'm not talking slowly, like just put it onto cold.
Can't we just...
You can. There's no rules. As long as it ends up being cold, and then you will be amazed at what your mind comes up with.
Oh, yes,
when
I've
you're
tried it, and I can tell you, I don't like it.
There'll be all sorts of excuses as to why you shouldn't do it. It's like, it's a bit cold today. I'll do it tomorrow. It's like, but you can notice those thoughts and you can do it anyway.
Yeah.
And stand under for 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30, however long you like. And you will feel great after. Well, most people feel great afterwards.
Yes.
But it's hard to do that. Being cold is really uncomfortable.
Yes.
And so what we're doing is we're training ourselves not only for that physical discomfort, but for the emotional discomfort and for the thoughts that are coming up that are trying to pull us out of that discomfort.
Yes. And it's a perfect example because it's accessible.
Yes.
To everyone.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, isn't it? That what you've just shared is that when we deliberately expose ourselves in bite-sized little opportunities, then we can, you'll immediately notice what you're thinking, which is turn that cold water tap off.
Yeah.
I want to get out, or you will turn it off. And so you can work into it as well, like recognise what's coming up, recognise kind of how you're feeling in that moment, and also practice what might help you to tolerate it a little bit longer.
Yeah.
And so that might be a breathing strategy. It might even be that I'm going to take some breaths and I'm going to have a nice long slow exhale, and I'm going to do 3, and that could be 20 seconds.
Yeah.
So I know that there are other examples, because we're both very, very lucky in that we have invested for our families in having a sauna, and I complain all the time. Peter will be very comfortable. He'll sometimes he'll trick me with the timing, And he'll say, I've only said it for 15 minutes and I know he's said it for 20. And I'm like, what time is it? What time is it? Because I find it it's very hot. It's very uncomfortable.
It's a sauna, Jodi.
That's the point. And then I was so excited actually because we had a sauna 2 nights ago and he'd forgotten to fill the little bucket with the water for the ladle, and I was like, oh, thank goodness. And he's like, don't worry, I'll just share some of my water from my drink bottle. I said, you're not having any of my water from my drink bottle to pour on the stones. But we did talk about this, and I will stay. I don't run out the door, but my mind is saying, get out, get out. Yeah. And I will notice that. And I am just trying to be aware of what's coming up for me, breathing through it. And sometimes what I'll do is, instead of sitting up because it's hotter, I'll just lie down on the bench.
Yeah.
And it just reduces the temperature enough for me to maybe just regain a little bit more composure.
Yes, yeah.
And then I'll sit up again.
Yeah.
But
I think that the trick is there, you're going in with purpose. That's what it sounds like. You're going in there to experience the discomfort.
Yes.
And the thing to practice is the noticing of the thoughts, because you could have that thought, just get out and just leave. That's when we're really just fused with thought. It's like thought comes up, and I'll just follow that. It's like it's an order.
This is an instruction.
Yeah. But if you've got that purpose to go, actually, I'm practicing my discomfort tolerance here. I'm practicing being uncomfortable, so expect the thoughts to come up. And if you expect them, then you're more likely to notice them.
Yes.
And know that your mind is just trying to protect you. It's trying to pull you out of safety, even if it's just a sauna or a cold shower.
Yes.
But you don't have to follow that order. So it's great when you do that you don't follow orders from your mind, because it actually shows you can do hard things.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
It does. And they're not instructions.
No.
They're not instructions. We can have those thoughts, and we can also choose to do what we said we wanted to do.
Yes, yeah. And hard is different for a lot of people.
Yes.
This could be, that you need to have a difficult conversation with somebody.
Yes.
It could be that, if you just been walking, maybe you go for a little jog. You don't have to go for hard. Just whatever is hard for you, whatever is going to put you into some level of discomfort, that you can just push yourself, and then next time push yourself a bit more. So it's different for everybody.
It is, and it reminds me, my poor kids have been practiced on for years, but I just remember, oh my gosh, my kids were always so thirsty at the supermarket and they want to buy water. They're 18 and 16 now, but they used to, dying of thirst at Woolies. And I'd be just like, you're thirsty, it's uncomfortable, I'm not buying water, you can wait till we get home. And said with love, but also, I'm not buying water. But just the as a parent, you can help your kids to recognise the discomfort.
Yes,
and I know it is an uncomfortable feeling, and that's okay, because I know you can also handle this for the next 15 minutes.
And I think that's just it's so important to validate how our young people are feeling.
Yes.
But we don't need to stay on the feeling.
Yes.
So we can validate it, we can normalise it, and then it's, okay, what needs to be done?
Yes.
What is important here? What matters here?
That's it.
And with our young people, knowing also that emotions are a lot stronger, their brain's not fully developed yet, and they have very intense emotions that a lot of the time we don't understand. It's like, why are you getting upset by this? But it's real for them.
Yeah.
But it's not about having them feel better all the time. Sometimes it is, but a lot of the time it's about them moving through that discomfort and showing them that, or them showing themselves that they can do challenging things and they can do hard things, because that's how we grow. And a lot of the time there is meaning in challenge.
Yes. Yeah, so much. This has been such a brilliant conversation, and I'm sad that we're going to draw it to a close. But I do want to ask just one question for everyone who's joined us here today, and for the listeners to this episode who are thinking, gosh, there's so much wisdom in this conversation, and I want to make a change. Because behaviour change is part of, the wonderful work that you do, And, you know, I started the podcast because I really, really genuinely wanted to support people who are struggling with anxiety. And there's so much we can do to help ourselves. For anyone listening today who feels like I would like to do something new and different, not a new challenge, but something that I've learned about here today in this conversation, I'd like to start to put something into practice. Can you suggest a place for people to start? If it's not asking too much of you to kind of...
No, and I think a lot of it is recapping what we've talked about. I mean, I would say hold that metaphoric coin each day, because it really is useful and helpful for me. So whenever strong emotions show up, I now ask myself what is on the other side of that, because it helps me to understand why I'm feeling like this. It doesn't mean that it takes that feeling away, but by understanding it, it just means there's a bit of self-compassion there. So that's one, is to have that metaphoric coin in your pocket each day. Use Aragamama. It is what it is. Yes. What do I need to do? What needs to be done?
Yes.
And another really simple exercise, if you want to use your attention, is to look for the colour blue. So I do this all the time. If I recognise that light of attention is inward and it's on my thoughts, it's like, you know, if I'm ruminating over something and then I catch myself doing that, I will look outside and I'll look for something the colour blue, and it can be something big, it can be something small, different shades of blue. If you get bored with blue, you could tell. I had a client who decided to look for purple because it was a bit harder. So it's so simple, but it's redirecting that attention from inward on what's happening in here to out into the world.
Yes, yeah, absolutely brilliant. Before we finish, I just wanted to, I did promise that I would share my most favourite quote.
Oh, yes.
Which is an Annie Dillard quote, and it's how we spend our days is how we spend our lives. Yeah. How we spend our days. It's my favourite quote, and here I am anxious and forgetting it. How we spend our days is how we spend our lives. And really what this conversation today has enabled all of us to do is to think and act differently day to day and not be so influenced and affected by the anxiety that's a part of the life that we live. It's very normal. We know it's very normal for anyone to experience anxiety. Not everybody's anxiety is a disorder or is a challenge that affects functioning, and there's so much that can be done. And I just want to ask everyone here to join with me in just saying a huge thank you to you for sharing your wisdom today and for being part of such a special event. So
thank you for having me. Thank you.
While I'm sharing thanks, the sponsors for today, I just want to say a very huge thank you. Did everyone have a lovely Benetti coffee? Fantastic. I was going to have a coffee, but I've had one, and I normally have two, but I decided today was a day for one coffee alone. And so Benetti Coffee, thank you, and IndieMax Studios, just a huge thank you for supporting us here today and making us feel so welcome in this beautiful space. Thank you so much for joining me for this week's episode. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and leave a review. To keep the conversation going, I'd love you to join me over on Instagram. You'll find me at Dr. Jodi Richardson. Also, if you'd like a copy of my free 5-day mini email course, Calm Your Anxious Brain, then jump over to my website, drjodirichardson.com, and you can sign up down the bottom. I've really enjoyed having your company. Thanks so much. See you next time.